Friends, I would like to talk to you about something that touches my heart. It always has. Even when I was a Jehovah's Witness and believed in the Bible, that problem always bothered me, and that was the way animals were sacrificed to God and how the animals were treated, and the way they're still being treated today. I can go on a channel on YouTube and just type in animals, killing animals for food. Well, now, that tears me apart when I flick that on and I see 6, 7 tigers surrounding an elephant. And the elephant is big. But when 7, 8, or 9 tigers get around that elephant and start eating him, his flesh is falling apart. He cannot move. And you see the ripping of his flesh, and he starts to fall down. He can't survive. They will eat him until he's all gone. Now, he could not do anything. He sat there and he just gave in and he withered on away. That tears me apart. How in the world could something like that exist? Or why did it ever exist in the first place? Was it an act of God to let animals eat animals and everything just kept right on going? Then some people will say, well, we eat animals for food. Yes, we do. But I would have to speak personally for myself. If I didn't have no choice to eat animals and only vegetables, that's what I would do. But if I just eat vegetables, my body will break down and have the need of meat to sustain it. That's not my fault then. If I could live just as good by eating vegetables and living just as long by eating vegetables and not feel bad, I would just eat vegetables then. But as the way God has your body made up, you have to have meat. Well, see now, I have no choice in the matter then. But let's get back to the point that the poor elephant standing there and letting something tear him apart, and the blood and the bone and the marrow is just flowing everywhere as the tigers devour him. Well, the tigers got to eat, see? But as the Bible says, at one time there was, they ate from the field, the straw, and the wild vegetation. Okay, that's good. Why isn't it that way today? Well, then they'll say, well, that's because Adam and Eve sinned. I don't want to hear that. If Adam and Eve sinned, that was their problem. What did the animals have to do with that? There was the animal kingdom. They weren't eating anything before that. Not if it's not in the Bible. And if Adam and Eve sinned, and then all hell broke loose, death was passed on to Adam and Eve and all their offsprings. Well, I'm a little perturbed there, because why am I paying for something that somebody else did? I didn't do that. Give me the choice of whether I will partake of the fruit or the tree of knowledge or whatever it is. Give me that choice, and I'll show you I won't eat it. Now, the animals were not given that choice. They just started eating each other. All hell broke loose. Well, you know, the Bible says God is a God of justice. He doesn't favor anybody. He has no trust in men. Well, I don't blame him for that. But the poor animals, what are they to do? They didn't bring this on. It was human beings, as far as the Bible says it is. I have a problem with that. Now, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. This, what I'm talking about, exists in the wild domain in Africa, where everything is there for the animals to live, but they have to eat each other to survive. The day starts off with every animal, whether it be the elephant, the kangaroo, the tiger, the leopard, whatever, is looking for something to eat. And they turn on each other. So it's a survival of the fittest, a survival of the animal that can hide the quickest and fight all his life to avoid being eaten. That is a hell of a life. Even for a wild animal, that's a hell of a life. To me, it is pathetic. And there are other pictures I have seen where an animal is being devoured by another animal, and the poor guy, I think, is like the zebra. He has not much protection, but there's a zebra when he's surrounded by wolves and other wild beasts, he stands there and lets them tear him apart, because he has no other way out. That is pathetic, friends. That is pathetic. Having no choice but to stand there and let something devour you into nothing. To me, I see no sense in it all. And you know, when I left the Watchtower or the Cult Tower and went to another church, I went there for about 2 years. It was the Berean church. And Nate was the head minister there, or the head preacher. And I told him that this was bothering me. Animal eating animal. I could not for anything understand why that exists, why it was ever permitted. And Nate told me when he went to the college and was taking up the ministry that also bothered him. See? It bothered him. But he says, well, John, sometimes we have to overlook things and get on with other things that are righteous and so forth. Well, okay, but just because I do that don't mean that problem is not there. You can ignore things. It don't mean it's not there. Because you don't think of it no more, it's still there. So, being he couldn't give me the answer, and being he was a church leader and was the head of the all-knowing Bible, I thought he could give me an answer, but he couldn't give me no answer. So eventually I quit going to church then, because that bothered me. It bothered me very much, because one thing, I'm an animal lover. There's nothing in this world more precious to me than a dog. I love dogs. In fact, at my age now, I have held back from getting a dog and bringing him in my home, because I'm here with my 2 little Dachshunds by myself and them 2, and they're two, mother and daughter, and they're about 13 years old, 14, and I know they're getting up in their age. And I want to get me a boy dog and name him Rex. Because that was, excuse me friends, because Rex was the name of the first dog I ever owned when I was 12 years old. And he got killed up on the highway, and I took my little wagon and went up to that highway and put his crushed body in that little wagon and took it back home and buried him in the backyard. At 12 years old, I was that attached to dogs, and I still am. Still am. But sometimes, I think, well, if I would get me a dog and name him Rex, about 4 or 5 years old, that I could break him in the house and get him acquainted with his 2 other dog friends. But I feel that it would be too much of a burden on me to keep up with it. He would have to be walked, and that would make me feel guilty if I couldn't walk him. And I have thought it over, and I have been told by my son, Dad, go ahead and get that dog and name him Rex. And whatever happens after that, I'll take care of anything that's left if you pass on. He says, but knowing you will outlive Rex. Well, that made me feel better, and I'm still debating on whether I should go get that dog named Rex. And if his name ain't Rex, I'll name him Rex. As long as he's about 4 years old. I don't want a puppy. I would like something about 4 or 5 years old that I could still housebreak and get him acquainted with the other 2 dogs that I have here. Now, the 2 dogs I have, they are in bed with me. I wouldn't let them sleep out outside or nothing like that. They are in my bed. And could I have all 3 in the bed? It wouldn't matter to me. I would want it that way. Because dogs are a comfort. They are a comfort. They will not harm you. They'll always stick by you. That's what I love about a dog. A dog is better than most humans. Yes, he is. You can kick him and he'll still stick right by you. That's the way a dog is. So friends, if you have any answers that you could give me about the elephant or the animals in the animal kingdom that get slaughtered every day, which we don't see, but we know it goes on, and give me an answer that what you think this is all about. But please don't tell me that it's because Adam and Eve sinned, because to me that's not an answer. It's a reach for anything. I don't believe in reaching for anything as an answer. Just so it makes common sense. Why animals eat each other when it has nothing to do with what they've done, if it's of God. I don't understand it. I never have understood it. And I would hope there's somebody out there that could give me an answer. And their suggestion on getting a dog at my age now and living out my life with that dog and the other 2 guys, and at least I would have some comfort for a few years to enjoy them and they enjoy me. And I would give them everything and every love and tender care the little time I have left. At least they would get a few years of love and companionship. I haven't talked about the watchtower or the cult tower because to me, I'm leaving that up to now the younger apostates, as we call us. I'm leaving it up to them because they're more into this stuff than I am now. I'm past that now. But I will still put a video on here once in a while about the cult tower. And isn't it good to see that they are fallen? It is good. When I see Kingdom Halls for sale, when I see Mikey and Kim saying about 500 have been sold in the last 3 or 4, I love that. I love that. And knowing that these people, like my daughter, now have to travel 40 or 50 miles to a meeting. and to me, how can you travel 40 miles or 30 miles to hear the same nonsense that they've been saying for the last 100 years? The same nonsense, that's all you would hear. But it's good to see them falling. It couldn't happen to such a nicer people. I don't feel sorry even for the people that are there. I don't feel sorry for them because they do have a choice. They do have a choice. They rather serve men than to serve God. See? They will stick to their old tradition about all this two-witness rule and crap like that, which they could eliminate if they wanted to, but they're not going to do it because it will make them look bad. See? And they'll tell you, we don't want to bring reproach on God's name. Well, you can't bring reproach on God's name. You can't bring reproach on your own self. That's what it is, reproach on your own self, not God. You got nothing to do with it. But this is the nonsense they tell the ones sitting in that Kingdom Hall. Well, friends, I'm going to close this down now. It's been nice talking to y'all, and I'll be talking again. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.